but I am trying to put across a different opinion. And that's precisely what Ben Franklin was trying to say. If you give up a little bit of your own security to secure yourself by somebody else, then you're not going to get it. Not fully. Giving up a little bit of freedom for a little bit of security, you will deserve neither and will lose both. That's the idea. So, but if you could call again, there's always the other side. I mean, there's always two sides to a coin, and I understand that. So, also, how much time we got? Okay, so, yes. And the idea of protecting, this always came across from, I hate saying it, but what happened in, what do you call it? Oh, I forget what you call it. Well, whatever. Basically, what's happening now is genocide, in my opinion. What's going on is what happened to the Jews in Germany, what happened in actually the 50s, if I believe I'm right. The Japanese Americans, you know, they were interned in the United States, out in California, if I remember correctly. And now we're going against Muslims. So this is basically racism, or in a way a crusade, you could say, because we're going after Muslims. They're not specifically Arabs or something to that effect. It's more of a religious thing. This is I don't know why, but this is like a crusade. So we're going after Muslims, extremist Muslims. And I've also heard the term right-wing extremist, and that it, you know, pertains to people that live here. That's internal terrorism. So that's exactly what I'm trying to get at. Is we're taking away rights of people that like freedom. If you want to give up your freedom for a little bit of security, that's up to you. But I'd like to have the freedom to make my own choice. And that's exactly what, you know, I'm trying to protect myself from terrorism. But you know, the people with my kind of mindset are going to be called terrorists, or what's the real word? I forget the name. It's whatever. It's not important. So I got told to not play with the phone this time, so I shall do so. All right. Anyway, so somebody's on the line, and his name is John Toomey. John, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm not going to play with the phone.
Just a question for you.
Sure.
If the government isn't obligated to protect the citizens,
right,
why do we have an army?
Yes. In my opinion, the Army and the Navy, as it's specified in the Constitution, is there to protect the United States. It's not there to protect the citizens, per se. It's to protect the interests of the United States as a state.
But that all involves around people.
That's true. So it's kind of an indirect thing. It's just like taxation by the federal government was supposed to be indirect, but then they made it direct.
Yes, yes.
So it's more of the intent of the original founding fathers. The Army and the Navy were never meant to attack anybody. They're meant to defend the United States.
Okay, but isn't that the same with requiring the airports, you're protecting the average citizen.
And like I said, that could make sense, yet I don't believe they have any grounds to do it, because, you know, they don't have their own property in the airports, and they're just scanning anybody and everybody. They're basically taking away the freedom to do what you want, you know, in order to secure somebody less than 1% of the time, I'd say. You know, it's like a minute thing, you know what I mean? You only hear about the bad things that go on, but every day-to-day thing, nothing happens day-to-day, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
The what ifs.
The vast majority of people want that security.
That's a good question, and there probably should be polls on it if there aren't already, but I'm just stating an opinion, I suppose.
Well, I'll, you know,
No, that's fine.
be blunt. I think we're really an oligarchy. We have.
Yeah, I
We're
agree.
really not a 100% democracy. We're a country where the majority of people sit back and take what they get, and since they get a lot, they're satisfied.
Precisely. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And so the end result is, you know, basic freedoms we ignore as long as we get, you know, food, clothing, shelter, and TV. So
I can see that. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny because it really could be considered an oligarchy. I mean, especially where you have the Kennedy family and you have the.
well, that's an excellent example.
Oh, yeah.
I think I mean, it's obvious that you know, a wealthy family with a well-known name, and look at how many of them have turned into politicians.
Absolutely. Yeah. You have the Bush family, the Clintons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all. It's an oligarchy, absolutely, and there are laws that require you to get so many signatures to be put on a ballot, and you know only the recognized names will get signed usually. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we've actually reached a point where unless you're a millionaire, you have very little chance of getting either, you know, certainly on the federal level.
Yes.
You have to spend so much money.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of ridiculous.
But
but
you know, people accept it.
what's that?
Well, okay, I just want to throw that one at you.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And yeah, keep on listening.
Well, keep on doing the shows. It's interesting.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, speaking of which, my next show will be in 2 weeks.
Good.
So, all right. All right. Thanks, John. That was awesome. So, yeah, just a couple bullet points. We have probably about 10 minutes. So I'm going to talk about this poll that was on, what is it, Howie Carr today. And so there was this idea that inmates, you know, jailed people should be paying rent. I'm like, wait a minute, that just doesn't make any sense. Let's say those inmates, they were actually innocent and they were put in jail accidentally, or they, you know, were just waiting for a trial or something. Should they really be paying rent? You know, that just doesn't make any sense. It takes away another freedom, and it could happen to you. So why do such a thing? I mean,